there, everybody. Welcome to episode 42 of Brian's Basement. My name is Brian. This is my basement. And wow, we got a fun show for you tonight. Episode 42. The meaning of the life, the universe, and everything. We're here. We've made it. But let's get started. Let's jump right into a song tonight. We're going to do a lot of blabbing. We're going to do a lot of song playing. So we're going to kick it off right now with the song. This is a song of mine. And it goes with the theme. So I had to play it. Because it goes with the theme tonight, which we'll talk about momentarily. As usual, let me know what's going on down there. How's your week been? What you been up to? Have you been trading your time decently? I haven't. I've been sitting around playing video games all week. And doing this, of course. Anyway, this song is called Casey Jones. On a Sunday morning, it begins to rain. Round that bend come an old passenger train. Under the cab lay poor Casey Jones. He's a good engineer, but he's dead and gone. Whoa, dead and gone, dead and gone. Good engineer, but he's dead and gone. Casey Jones, he was a good engineer, and he told his fireman not to have no fear. All he ever needed was some water and coal. Peep out of the cab and see those drivers roll. Whoa, drivers roll, drivers roll. Peep out of the cab and see those drivers roll. Watching Casey's pocket read at 9:30. Casey was determined to get there on time. Then he saw that train coming around the bend, and Casey knew his life was coming to an end. Whoa, to an end, to an end. Casey knew his life was coming to an end. And on that Sunday morning it begins to rain, and Casey did his best to stop that speeding train. When that finally crashed, you know that train was slow. Save everyone's life on board except his own. Except his own, except his own. Save everyone's life on board except his own. Wow, I said that song was related to our theme tonight. What are we doing tonight? What's going on the basement? Well, I had a lot of fun with this week. What we're going to do tonight is we are going to play old-timey folk songs, old-timey songs. So you can go, and this is what I did, you can go online to this site, Gutenberg.org. It's Project Gutenberg site. And what that is it means that they have all of these books you can download, anything that's out of copyright, so anything pre-1925 that's out of copyright, you can go and download an ebook for free. And so what it did is I went to Gutenberg and I just searched songs, and I read through all these crazy old songbooks from the 1800s and the early 1900s, and so I picked a few of them out, and we're gonna play them. So little disclaimer, these don't have music, of what I know. I made up the music. Some of them might. And what I'm going to do is probably not right. And there could be recordings out there that I didn't find or am not aware of. But we're just going to put our own little spin on it. And this is what I came up with. So, as you know, the research budget for Brian's Basement is very low. So it was a very quick cursory look on what's out there. And so don't take any of this as some kind of a study, any kind of academic value to this. We're just taking some crazy old songs, we're putting some music to it, and I'm gonna sing them for you. I gotta read them. There's a lot of words in these they put a lot of words in old songs, and so let's get started with that. We'll check with hello Scott, hello Jake, hello Dad, hello Alex. Thanks for saying hi, everybody. It's good to see you. Scott says, I thought he was going to play Brain Poison. Don't spoil it, Scott. That's coming later. And I have bookends. A song of mine to kick it off and a song to end it. And that might be the one. Okay. Anyway. The reason why I played Casey Jones, because this is what I did with that song. I was in a book at the Shawnee Library. I tell this story all the time on stage. And I picked out some music to it. I didn't even know Casey Jones was a prominent folk legend, in that the Grateful Dead had a famous song called Casey Jones, and my brother has a spinning piano thing, and one of those what do they call them, player pianos, and he found an authentic, really old scroll, literally a scroll. How cool is that? That was Casey Jones. He was like, is this the same one? I said, no, but there's hundreds of them. So yeah, so that's where we're at with that. So that's why we played that one first. And so I'm going to play a song, kick this night off. This is from a book called The Spell of the Yukon and Other Verses. This was by Robert W. Service, published in 1907. So this is a bunch of poems and songs that about the Yukon Territory and the Yukon Gold Rush in Canada. So this song, it might have been a poem. I don't know. It kind of seems like a poem, but I liked it, so I picked it. It's called Unforgotten. No. Okay. I know of a garden where the lilies gleam, and one who lingers in the sunshine there. She is then a white-stoled lily, far more fair. And oh, her eyes are heaven lit with a dream. I know a garret cold and dark and drear, and one who toils and toils with tireless pen, until his brave sad eyes grow weary then. He seeks the stars, pale and silent as a seer. And it's strange, for desolate and dim, between these two there rolls an ocean wide. Yet he is in the garden by her side, and she is in the garret there along with him. Okay, that's a Yukon love song. You know, a lot of these songs have got a lot of similar themes. You see the same stuff that people are still writing about today. This is someone in the gold mine, in a garret. That's a word I learned. It's like an attic, a crappy attic room. Is writing about his love across the ocean. How nice is that? See, you still got same stuff like that today. I think that's really encouraging. So what is folk music, right? Seems like everybody with an acoustic guitar says they're a folk musician. You know what? They're probably right. It's easy to get in gatekeeping mode. This is common a lot in the contemporary folk world. But I really try not to get that attitude. But you got to think sometimes, what is folk music? If I want to call myself a folk musician or that I'm a folk music fan, like what does that mean? And so I was thinking about it this week. And I think there's like three main things for me. And it can be one, and I think a folk song can have one of these things, all of these things, none of these things. It doesn't really matter. It's not a hard and fast rule. But the first thing is, I think it has to be intended not for the recorded format. Like, so either historically when they didn't have the recorded format and it was people just entertaining each other, or I think, talking in a contemporary sense, your folk music is the kind of stuff that people are playing at your open mics. Just regular people showing up at night to play their songs or play songs that they like. I think that all kind of is kind of got that very localized aspect to it. I think that's part of it. I think folk songs have some essence of that. I think there's got to be some element of tradition, right? So there's got to be some kind of thing that is old and something that is like cherished, that is passed down. This comes up a lot in like instrumental music. People that play like really good fiddle or banjo, they're carrying on a tradition of people that played this music, just because, again, pre-recorded, just to entertain themselves. So I think that's part of it too. And I think the other facet, and this is my favorite facet, is stories. I think folk songs always have good stories because either it's funny to entertain yourself, or as a historical record, or a story to, like that last one, maybe to soothe yourself if you're feeling lonely, which a lot of these songs, which were written on the frontiers and out west and stuff, it was a very lonely, isolated life. So I think stories are really important too. I think pretty much every song is a story, though. Every good song, it doesn't matter what kind of song it is, every song pretty much tells a story. So by that definition, I think pretty much anything can be folk music. Yeah, so that's just what I think about it. And I think something that really, the song I picked all the songs first, and then I set, kind of what I was going to talk about in between. I think the song that I have that best embodies this kind of folkiness, as in terms of like localized stuff, non-recorded, is from the 1916 book Wisconsin in Story and Song. This is a book that was just all songs and poems from people that were from Wisconsin. Not necessarily about Wisconsin, but just people from the great state of Wisconsin, the Badger State, as they call it. So this is a poem, actually, kicking it off with like two probably poems, but I liked it a lot. It's called "Which Are You," and it's by Ella Wheeler Wilcox, and she wrote a bunch of poems, and some of them got published in her local paper. And she was famous for kind of her being real down to earth, writing kind of not very like flowery, wordy stuff, just being very down to earth. So this is called "Which Are You," and this is about the two types of people in the world. There are two kinds of people in this earth today. Just two kinds of people, no more, I say. Not the sinner and saint, for 'tis well understood that the good are half bad and the bad are half good. Not the rich and the poor, for to rate a man's wealth, you must first know the state of his conscience and health. not the humble and proud, for in life's little span, who puts on vain airs is not counted a man. Not the happy and sad, for the swift flying years bring each man his laughter and each man his tears. No, the two kinds of people on this earth I mean are the people who lived and the people who lean. Wherever you go, you will find the earth's masses are always divided in these two classes. And oddly enough, you will find too, I ween, there's only one lifter, 220 who lean. And which class are you? Are you easing the load of overtaxed lifters as they toil down the road? Or are you a leaner who lets others share your portion of labor and worry and care? Here we go. Which Are You? By Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Erin says she's a folk musician. Well, that's all you need. It's like that's all it takes. You just gotta say that you are. So congratulations, Erin. I'm so proud. We're a happy bunch, all of us. Scott says, Kim says, would you say that Christmas songs are folk songs? Definitely some of them, and I think that the ones that are, from the 40s and 50s, the ones that we most know today, those are definitely getting close to being folk songs, just because of the tradition part of it. Like, those are songs that people are going to sing to their kids and their kids' kids and stuff like that. So that's a kind of accidental one, I think. But they almost all tell a story. So there you go. Scott says the Christmas song's not written in the church, perhaps. Yeah, but most of them that we think of are not. Monks and priests are intellectually elite. Reverends, pastors, yeah, that's a good point. But a lot of what we know today as folk music does come from the church, from hymns and because that's where people got their music. So I don't know. I'm not an expert. I don't know anything. Whew. I've got some tea today. Some chamomile tea. It's too hot. Ah! All right, cool it off. I don't have a place for my tea bag. It's okay. All right. What do we got next? I wanted to address this. A friend of the show, Jake, texted me last week, and something about sea shanties. And I've been seeing stuff about sea shanties all over the place, and I've not been able to connect why. I've seen news articles about them. Jake sent me something about them. There was people on rumblings on Twitter about sea shanties being really popular. And what I ended up finding out when I was on a forum and I asked, like, what's the deal? Why do I keep hearing about sea shanties? Well, it turns out it's a TikTok meme. So that's why I don't know about it. So I am officially an old person now because I do not know what's going on, what the kids are doing on their own platform. So that was very exciting. But I think the thing about the sea shanties, it's like an isolated life with very little hope and repetition over and over again. That's why sea shanties are relevant now, I think is what it is. But anyway, but like everything else, we're doing frontier music tonight because just like all the other time, I've completely missed the trend and we're not doing what we should be doing. So carry on. And on that note, we're gonna get even weirder. for our next song. I saw this book when I on the search list or whatever, and I thought, well, we have to do a song from this because I don't know what this is, but it's probably just like the songs from Wisconsin caught my eye. This is a book published in London in 1885. I tried to stick to primarily American folk music, but this one, like I said, I couldn't resist. This is a book by a William Morris, best known as the founder of the arts and crafts movement. He was a designer, but he wrote this book. It's called Chants for Socialists, published in 1885. Because before Bernie Sanders and the Red Scare and all that stuff, and Stalin and all that. Before all that, there was just people that were getting, screwed over, being worked in factories to death, and all of the fruits of their labor went to the people that in the factory, and they were bummed about that. This song in particular mentions that. It talks about how all of the things that the people built with their hands was basically taken from them. And it reminds me a lot of how the internet companies now have this infinitely reproducible thing that they can sell to people, and will do anything they possibly can to keep that from the people that made it. So this is, I'm looking at you, big retailer named after a river. So this is called The Voice of Toil. I heard men a-saying, leave hope and praying, all days shall be as all have been. Today and tomorrow bring fear and sorrow, the never-ending toil in between. When earth was younger, mid toil and hunger, in hope we strove, our hands were strong. Then the great men led us, with the words they fed us, and bade us right the earthly wrong. Go read in story all their deeds and glory, their names amidst the nameless dead. Then turn from lying to a slow dying in a good world to which they led. Where faster and faster our iron master, and the thing we made forever drives, bids us grind our treasure and fashion pleasure for other hopes and other lives. Where home is a hovel, where we dull and grovel, forgetting that the world is fair. Where no babe we cherish, let its soul perish. Where our mirth is crime, our love a snare. And who shall lead us? What God shall heed us? As we lie in the hell our hands have won. For us there are no rules, but fools and befoolers. The great are fallen, the wise men gone. I heard men saying, leave tears and praying, the sharp knife heedeth not the sheath. Are we not stronger than the rich and the wronger, when day breaks over dreams and sleep? Come shoulder to shoulder, ere the world grows older, and help lies in naught but thee and me. And hope is before us, the long years ideas that bore us, bore leaders more than men may be. Let dead hearts tarry and train and marry, with trembling nerves their dreams of mirth. While we be living, our lives are giving to bring the bright new world to birth. Come shoulder to shoulder, ere the earth grows older, the cause spreads over land and sea. Now the world will shaketh, and fear awaketh, and joy at last for thee and me. Well, how neat is that? Chants for socialists. Cool. What? Scott out there spitting rhymes, as he is wont to do. Okay, it's time. It's time for Brian's Boombox. Okay. Whoa. What do we got today on Brian's Boombox? Well, this is an interesting one. This is I forgot already. It's gunslingers and gunslinger ballads and gunfighter ballads and trail songs by Marty Robbins. So I was like, well, I gotta get in the vibe for frontier songs. So I went to the only streaming service I have, which is Amazon Prime. Funny. Funny given the last song. But so I went there and I typed in frontier songs just to see what came up. And this popped up. And I was like, this looks so familiar. Why do I know this? And it's because they were talking about it on this podcast I listened to. It was someone's like formative record that like really like got them going on Western music. I was like, oh, I know what that is. So I listened to it. And the very first song, I was like, this song sounds so familiar. What is going on here? And it turns out that song was featured in the video game Fallout New Vegas. It's called Big Iron, and it plays on the radio when you walk into various houses and the radios are playing. One of the songs on there was Big Iron. So anyway, this was just a good way for me to get really into try to figure out what I'm going to do to write these songs, because one of the things you'll notice about frontier songs, and I hope has been noticed what I'm trying to do tonight, is these songs are very melodic. They're very focused on the melody because they were sung by, maybe you had a guitar, but maybe you didn't. Maybe you're just sitting around the campfire singing or whatever. Maybe you don't have anything other than just you. And so these songs always have really good melodies, and it makes them more memorable too. This is something I'm not really particularly strong at as a songwriter. I tend to just want to like be like blah 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 blah. I want to be monotone and just kind of almost just kind of spit it out. And I think that's some people say that's they're just like punk influence there. So maybe because I started thinking about these things when I was listening to this. But anyway, this is a fun little record though. It's like really, it's 1959. I don't think it's not authentic at all, I would say. There's only a couple traditionals on there, and it's right in the height of cowboy craze in the 50s. But a lot of these guys were of the generation where they would have known somebody that was actually of this time period. So I thought it's a pretty close thing. It's a pretty influential record. The songs I liked on it were Big Iron, obviously. I like the song El Paso. That's the famous one. That's the one you might know. And then there's one on there. It's on the 1999 reissue called The Hanging Tree. And apparently that one was in a movie. So I liked all those too. So yeah, check it out. Marty Robbins, Gunfighter Ballads, and Trail Songs. Neato. How about that? Yeah, see... Tom the Bomb knows. I knew he would know what this is. But yeah, another cool thing about this is that So when Fallout was a big hit, a lot of people discovered this album from Fallout, which I think is really cool because, there's a lot of people that maybe were like, what is this song? And or like, oh, I like this. And maybe that brought them to, Western music or folk music or whatever it is. But probably a small percentage of people like really got into it because of Fallout. I think that's super, super cool. And so it's, I think that's just a cool medium to do that on. Neat. Well, let's play a song now. This one is, where are we? Yeah, I'm trying to find it on this. I've just got in a giant text file, all these songs. So this one is, this is one where I tried to do a good melody on because I'd written the chords out and I was like, this works. And then I was like, it doesn't work. It doesn't have the big melody. This one is a ballad for sure. We were just talking about ballads. What's a ballad? A ballad's usually like a story song. Technically, they have a certain rhyme scheme. Like that's what you would learn in school. But really, to me at least, a ballad is just anything that is a story song, but it uses imagery a lot to tell, not so much of just like a historical record. And this one is a really good example of that. This is a song from the book Songs of the Cattle Trail and Cow Camp, and this was by John Lomax and published in 1919. John Lomax was Alan Lomax's father. Alan Lomax was the guy that went around for the Smithsonian and recorded all of these songs from Appalachia and the South, and just went to like random towns and was like, tell me your songs, and recorded them. And so that was Alan. This is his dad, and he did the same thing. So that's kind of where that comes from. He started doing this, and he was writing them down. I read that there might be recordings somewhere, but again, I couldn't find them in the short time I had. But I'll keep looking for them because there's a lot of good stuff in there. So this is one that was this book was kind of he had his like big like famous book of all of these songs, and then he kind of made this one, which was more very specific that were more maybe going to be more popular songs. I guess not like popular, but they were more digestible. Let's say that. So this is a song called Jack Dempsey's Grave, and I think it's cool because it takes place in the Pacific Northwest, and it's kind of just about a reckoning with death. Far out in the wilds of Oregon, on a lonely mountainside, where Columbia's mighty waters roll down the ocean's tide, where the giant fir and cedar are imaged in the wave, overgrown with ferns and lichens, I found poor Dempsey's grave. I found no marble monolith, no broken shaft or stone, recording 60 victories this vanquished victor won. No rose, no shamrock I could find, no mortal here to tell, where sleeps in this forgotten spot the immortal nonpareil. A winding wooden canyon road that mortals seldom tread leads up this lonely mountain to the desert of the dead. The western sun was sinking the Pacific golden wave, and these solemn pines kept watching over poor Jack Dempsey's grave. That man of honor, that man of honor and iron, that man of heart and steel, that man who far outclassed his class and made mankind to feel. that Dempsey's name and Dempsey's fame should live in serried stone. It's now at rest in the far west, in the wilds of Oregon. Forgotten by 10,000 throats that thundered his acclaim. Forgotten by his friends and foes that cheered his very name. Oblivion wraps his faded form, but ages hence shall save that memory of that Irish lad that fills poor Dempsey's grave. Oh, fame, why sleeps thy favored son in wilds and woods and weeds? And shall he ever thus sleep on, interred his valiant deeds? 'Tis strange New York should thus forget its bravest of the brave, and in the wilds of Oregon unmarked lay Dempsey's grave. Well, shoot, that one's a tongue twister, you know? I really like that song, though. I really like the imagery of the Pacific Northwest. I just read this book about logging in the Northwest called Big Lonely Doug. It's about a tree. Look it up. It's pretty cool. Someone told me about the book, and I was like, is Big Lonely Doug a person? Because I don't care. They're like, no, it's a tree. I was like, I'm in. I really care about this now. Well, one of the things that I like about this exercise, one of the things I thought was really fun was just learning stuff, like weird stuff, like you wouldn't expect to learn. Like I said, I learned like a bunch of words, like weird words. Like in that last song, there's the non-parallel. It means has no equal. I was like, never heard that. What were some of the other ones? A garret, like I didn't know what that was. That was from the first song. That's like an attic room. There's just a bunch of just weird words in here that, you know, and that's just the very shallowest of it. The words, there's also just weird phrases, what people were writing about at the time. Like I said, a lot of it is kind of similar to things that are written about today, but the metaphors are all different, right? So, you know, today we might talk about, you know, something is, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but in the day it would have been a train or a cattle or whatever. So it's like all the same topics but different metaphors, which I think was really interesting. But the other thing that was interesting for this song in particular, this next one, there is a line in it. Is there something going on in the chat? Non-Purell is when you run out of hand sanitizer. Oh, oh, that is foul, Alex. That's yeah. Scott's like nice. Yeah, yeah. Right, that's great. Sorry to interrupt. Oh yeah, no that was worth interrupting, Kim. Thank you for distracting my train of thought for the non-Purell joke. That was great. Love you guys. All right. Yeah, I actually did forget. So like I said, they talk about weird things that you don't understand. You gotta look them up. This next song has the whole song makes perfect sense. Every part of the song makes sense until the very last verse, and there's just things that I don't know what they mean. And the problem is that I don't want to play them. Because some of these old-timey songs can be kind of racist sometimes, and so I didn't know what to make of it. So I reached out to a friend of the show Alex and a friend of the show James, and I was like, "What do you guys think this means?" And we had some nice chats about it, and I read a lot of history about the Chinese Americans in the 19th century coming over for the gold rush. And just all of how initially everybody was cool, everyone was cool and fine, and then the gold ran out. And then when that happened, nobody was cool anymore. Then it was like, start, levying a bunch of taxes on certain classes of people and, scapegoating some group of people because, there just wasn't as much gold as you were told there was. So anyway, for this song, the other thing, so this is such a weird last verse, because the other half of it says about the time the Allied forces take Sebastopol. And I was like, what is that? Well, this is a Crimean War reference, I believe. And so I was like, why is this in this song? I don't know. But anyway, you can learn a lot. You just follow your curiosity. What does this mean? I learned about the Crimean War. Wow. Never would have done that without doing this exercise. So yeah, and the other takeaway from this is that I'm just going to leave that verse out because I don't know what it means, and I don't want to say what it means if I can't figure it out. And that's the beauty of folk music, people. You can do whatever you want. You can take it and make it your own. So that's what I did here. This song is this is from Cowboy Songs and Other Frontier Ballads. This is John Lomax's main book. This one's published in 1910, so 7 years before the last one we talked about. Then this is a song, it's kind of like a drinking song. There's lots of drinking songs in the frontier. And it's also, I think it's either supposed to be just like funny, haha, like, look, we're dirty, terrible people mining for gold. It's either that or it's like a very sarcastic look at what the miners, the gold miners were like. I don't know, but it's funny. It's entertaining, which is probably the purpose of this song. It's just so it's either laughing at somebody or laughing at themselves. I don't know. But this is called The Happy Miner. Well, I'm a happy miner. I love to sing and dance. I wonder what my love would say if she could see my pants with the canvas patches on my knees and one upon the stern. I wear them when I'm digging here and home when I return. So I get on in a jovial way. I spend my money free, and I've got plenty. Won't you drink a lager beer with me? She writes about her poodle dog and never thinks to say, oh, do come home, my honey dear, I'm pining all the way. I'll write her half a letter and then give the ink a tip. If that don't bring her to her milk, I'll coolly let her rip. So I get on in a jovial way. I spend my money free, and I've got plenty. Won't you drink a lager beer with me? They wish to know if I can cook and what I have to eat, and they tell me if I take a cold, be sure to soak my feet. But when they talk of cooking, I'm mighty hard to beat. I've made 10,000 loaves of bread the devil couldn't eat, and I get on in a jovial way. I spend my money free, and I've got plenty. Won't you drink a lager beer with me? I like a lazy partner so I can take my ease, lay down and talk of golden home as happy as you please, without a thing to eat or drink, away from care and grief. I'm fat and sassy, ragged too, as tough as Spanish beef, and I get on in a jovial way and spend my money free, and I've got plenty. Won't you drink a lager beer with me? No matter whether rich or poor, I'm happy as a clam. I wish my friends at home could look and see me as I am, with a woolen shirt and rubber boots and mud up to my knees, and like twice as large as chili beans, fighting with the fleas. And I get on in a jovial way, I spend my money free. And I've got plenty, won't you drink a lager beer with me? Yeah, I get on in a jovial way, I spend my money free. And I've got plenty, won't you drink a lager beer with me? Yeah, I'm a happy miner, is what I learned. No. Yeah, so that's a fun. I thought it was interesting they referenced specifically lager beer. That seems, first of all, beer was not super common on the frontier because it requires refrigeration, or it's got to be underground in a you can't just carry a bottle of beer around like you can whiskey. That's why whiskey was much more popular on the frontier. So I thought that was an interesting part about that. But yeah, what's going on in the chat? What is going on? Thanks for crashing his Tesla of thought. What does that even mean? What am I missing?
About the Purell joke.
Oh. Oh, okay. He's making a joke about the metaphors, I think. Instead of a train, a Tesla, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know what you guys are talking about there half the time. Teresa said her dad had that album. Probably the Marty Robbins album. That's super cool. It's fun. It's a fun listen. I liked it. It's nice because you listen to it. When you listen to that album, you're like, oh, this is why people like country music. There were like stories and like nostalgia and whatever. Anyway. Yeah, so he was making it. Scott listens. That's great. I appreciate. He's got great active listening skills. All right. What are we talking about now? Yeah, so I kind of mentioned this before, but there's these songs are so funny because they're, they fall into like these archetypes, and you still see the same kind of thing today. You got you've got your love songs, people that are love unrequited is a very popular song topic back in the 1800s and all the way today, which I think is it's a pretty interesting continuity. Like the last song, humor, you get a lot of humor, just entertaining songs, funny little songs. We sing funny songs to children to entertain them, right? We don't sing songs to kids because we want to do some academic study about the quality of the songwriting. We sing songs to kids because it's funny and they like it, and it's like that's just a thing. Like that's just a thing that will always be here. Every human beings will always like funny little songs. It just will be. You get the historical accounts, those are sometimes they trend on the humorous side. They're more of legends. Sometimes they are too. We're not talking a time period where oral tradition is the only history. It's mostly myth making and legend making, which also is just a quality of people. And then finally the song about the hope and the lonely people. What I call sad sack of shit songs. You see a lot of those back then too. And if you can kind of get over all that weird stuff that we're talking about, all the weird metaphors and words, there is definitely a common thread. And I just thought that was super cool when I was doing that this week. And another thing about that, how did I do this? Like I said, I just went to Gutenberg. I typed songs and I downloaded every ebook I could find, and I just started scrolling through them. Wanted to focus on American songs mostly, and yeah, I had to read a shitload of these things, and but some of them are pretty entertaining, and some of them are pretty funny. And this next one that I'm gonna play, this one is this is my favorite. It's the hardest to sing. It has 9-line stanzas, which is very weird, and there's just a lot of words. And the least folk music thing I've ever had to do in my entire life was I had to go in. It had like a lot of the like dialect, so like apostrophes for like the and or the o for the or. I had to get rid of all of that and make them like and or and the and he. Because otherwise it was just too hard for me to read. So that was a blow. That was a blow to my ego. That one. But this is my favorite one. I love the story of this song, and because I'll probably screw it up singing because it's hard to sing, I'm going to tell you what the story is. From what I understand, I could find no historical evidence of this. Again, very quick search. I'm sure there's something out there, but like a very quick internet search, I couldn't find anything about this. But this is the story of a riverboat called the Pauline, which is a hilarious name for a riverboat. And basically, the Pauline is like the crappiest boat in the world. And this other captain comes up in this brand new boat and challenges the captain of the Pauline to a race. And and so apparently the captains have beef. So the guy accepts. And and the new boat says, I'll give you 2 miles lead. Like, I'll give you 2 miles lead, and I'll still catch up to you and beat you because the Pauline is such a crappy boat. The guy's like, okay. So they go, and it actually turns out that the new boat is going to beat the Pauline. And so the captain of the Pauline basically, at the very end of the race, they're racing to like a dock, and at the very end of the race, decides to just throw a bunch of pine tar in the boiler, which is extremely flammable. Basically, the ship explodes. He cuts off the North Queen, the new ship. He cuts it off. The ship explodes. He's hurled to the air. His ship is in just smithereens. He lands on the dock and says, I won the race. The Pauline is the best. Find a new ship next time you want to try to race me. It's just great. I don't know if this happened, but I think it's a hilarious story. So this is called the Pauline. This is my favorite one that I found. And I want to play it really fast. And someday I will, but today we're going to play it slow. A Missouri tramp was the boat Pauline, and she ran in 78. She was warped in the hull and broad of beam, and her engine sizzled with wasting steam. A 3-mile jog against the stream was her average running gait. Sing ho for the rickety Pauline maid, the rottenest craft in the Bismarck trade, and the captain and her maid. For the new North Queen come up in June, fresh launched from the St. Joe Way. As speedy as a craft as the river would float, she could buck the bends like a bighorn goat. She hauled astern that Pauline boat one of them nice spring days. Sing ho for the Pauline puffing hard, with her captain up on the starboard guard, watching the North Queen race. Queen drew near to the Pauline's wheel, and her captain came about. I'll give you 3 miles the lead and beat you into that old Santee. Come on, says the Pauline's chief, I'm a-waiting for you now. Sing ho for the captain's grim and white, with the smothered hate of an old-time fight and the chance for a new time route. So the sassy queen strung out behind and let that distance spread, till the Pauline headed Ackley's Bend and herself came down to the lower end. Then her slow bell speed begun to mend the space for the old boat led. Sing ho for the clerks and engineers, a swabbing the grease on the running gears and setting the stroke ahead. Puff, puff, they went by the flat sandbars. Chug, chug, when the current spun. And the Pauline Stokers were not to blame, for her tall black stacks were spouting flame. The Queen crawled up her just the same, 2 miles to the Pauline's one. Sing ho for the steam chest's pounding cough, a shaking the nuts of the guy rods off to beat of the pistons run. And the Queen pulled up on the old boat's beam at the mouth of the Shotow Creek. And Pauline's captain stamped and swore, for the wood bulged out of his furnace door. And the steam gauge hissed with loud it bore, but she couldn't do the trick. Sing ho for the pilot at the wheel, a shaving the chores on a 12-inch keel, enough to scare you sick. Oh, the Queen was doing her level best, and she wasn't leading far, for the Pauline stuck like a barber's leech, and she let her siren whistle screech, and she led the way into Dodson's Reach, 3 miles from Santee Bar. Sing ho for the Pauline's roustabout, rolling the Bismarck cargo out, big barrels of black pine tar. And the Pauline's chief was a sight to see as he stood on the swinging stage. I'll beat that Popeye levee rat if he banks his fires with bacon fat. Pile the tar and let her scat, and never mind the gauge. Sing ho for the boiler singeing red, and the black smoke vomiting overhead from the furnace flaming rage. And she gained that rattletrap mud scout did, while the wake got white with spray. And 40 rods from the landing plate, her bow was a beam to the North Queen's flake, and her pilot rushing for the bank to block the North Queen's way. Sing ho for the boiler's bursting roar, as they hurl them loose from the splitting floor and tear the decks away. But the captain bold of the ex-Pauline, he didn't stop a bit, for he flew with the wreckage through the air, and he fell on the landing fair and square. And the Queen run in and found him there, reared up from where he lit, and he yelled, "You rouster, I have won the race. Go get a boat that you can keep my pace, so your North Queen doesn't fit." Yeah, that's the story of the Pauline. That song has so many cool old-timey words in it. Roustabout. What's the other? That rattletrap mud scow. I'll beat that pop-eyed levee rat. Come on. This is great. That's great stuff. Well, boy, howdy. Let's see what's going on in chat. Yes. Good call out, because I was thinking this when I said it. Was sassy a popular folk word? This is just 2 songs that I've sung that have said the word sassy. The one was fat and sassy, that's definitely me. But yeah, they I guess it was a popular folk word. I used to call students Sasquatch when they got sassy. Oh, that's good, Scott. Scott the teacher, you know? That's classic. Yeah. Yeah, rouster is a great insult. It is. And Tom the Bomb says horse is being referred to as sassy. That is probably where it comes from. That's pretty funny. Well, we've reached the hour. We've done it. We've played old-timey songs all night and talked about old-timey songs. And you should go, I think everyone on here should go read a book on Project Gutenberg, gutenberg.org. You can even you can email them to your Kindle if you do that sort of deal. It's pretty cool. It's a great service, and they probably donate a lot of time and money to get all these ebooks up there.
Tommy wants to know if you can ferment a beer in a mine.
Oh, wait. Can you ferment a lager beer in a mine? Yes. So if the lager beers typically ferment at around like the 50s, I think. So what the earth core temperature down there is like 55. So you should be able to you should be able to ferment a lager beer down there. And this is why there's beer tunnels, which is for fermenting lagers, and also for like cellaring your beer, letting it mature in the cold. That's supposed to be good for them. So, yes, you could. But the thing about that is you need like a cave, right? So it has got to be stationary. So that's why like the miners, in a mining town, they would have access to lager beers for that happy miner song. But like a cowboy would not have access to a beer. Neat. Okay. Well, in closing, I'm going to play one of my songs. And this is a song I wrote just about kind of old-timey songs. I think that there's so much to learn from these, and it was really good for me to kind of get back into this mode and think about these kind of continuous themes that I was talking about, these things that you see through all humanity. It was nice to kind of get back in that space and step outside my own head for a little bit. But I also think that this music's popular today in like contemporary folk and bluegrass world because of its escapist qualities. It wants to go. It takes you back to a simpler time. Obviously, these times weren't simple at all. And if we take these songs for face value, these people led very difficult lives. But for our purposes now, we like to think of the times of the steamboat and the times of the train because it's something that we can understand how it works in an increasingly complex world. And so this song is about the escapist properties of it because nobody today that writes a song about a steamboat has ever had to really work on a real steamboat, So this song's about that, and it has the title of the tonight's show in it. So I thought I would close with it. This is called Brain Poison. Self-appointed preachers that tell me what's right. Outraged salesmen striving to divide into sides. Engineering marvels so I can scream at a silhouette. Defunct discourse to shield me from someone that I don't get. Underwater data center tell me the weather. Subservient servers tell me when my friends all get together. Daytime commercial telling me I'm missing out on the fun. Goldfish hive mind leaves me forgotten by everyone. All I need's an old folk song. Wash me in the river, drive a railroad spike, take a ride on a steamboat. Rest my soul on the good Lord's providence. Ease my mind on an old time solace. All of human knowledge to tell me my words have already been said. Stream of conscious shit show makes my feelings feel dull and dead. Middle-aged middlemen tell me to get a sense of self-worth. And I am not a Luddite because I don't want followers. All I need's an old folk song. Wash me in the river, drive a railroad spike, take a ride on a steamboat. Rest my soul on the good Lord's providence. Ease my mind on an old time solace. May the circle be unbroken by and by, by and by. sky, in the sky. I'll fly away, on glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away, fly away. Later down the line when I'm gone and dead, driftwood in the word flood be the only evidence of what I did. Tiny slice of my life that will live on for eternity, and all of this insanity will replace me. All I need's an old folk song. Watch me in the river, drive a railroad spike, hang around on a steamboat. Rest my soul on the good Lord's providence. Ease my mind on an old time solace. All right. Wow. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in this week. Episode 42, the meaning of the life, the universe, and everything. Scott, yes, he did a rap remix of this song. So that will be interesting. Not yet up, but he will share with me, and I will thus share with you. So, yeah. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for saying hi in the chat. And thanks always, Kim, producer Kim, for being a producer. And we'll be back next week. We'll get into some shenanigans. And until then, stay safe out there. Do something nice for another person, and then do something nice for yourself. Okay? And until then, or when you do, come back and tell me on it next week on Brian's Basement. So thanks for tuning in. Okay, bye.